With us. Hope you are well and healthy. Welcome back. We are talking technology this morning. Now that we have this stay-at-home order here in Arizona and really across the world in different countries and cities, well, technology at our fingertips is really helping us here through this pandemic. But it makes you wonder, there are some changes taking place right now in the day-to-day and how we use technology, and then as we look into the future as well. So I'm going to bring in this morning, this is ASU professor Katina Michael. Good morning to you, Katina.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Give us your perspective here on how technology has really helped or hurt us during this pandemic.
I guess we're going to see a wave of change in the coming months. In times of crisis, we think about all the tools that we have at our disposal, and I think technology is one of those toolkits. It's not the silver bullet solution, but it may see us through the next phases as we are challenged by epidemics, pandemics, and other emergencies. So I think it's going to be cashless, contactless. I think it's going to be about tracking, tracing, and tagging through a blockchain perspective. It's all about big data. How can the data tell us, all those waypoints we're collecting with our wearable devices, how can they tell us more about ourselves, our community, and using a data-driven approach just basically become more aware of ourselves as a society.
And you bring up a good point, I think, as well, Katina, where you look back in history, maybe at the Spanish flu pandemic. They did not have the technology we have right now. I mean, right now you can order groceries online and have it delivered. You don't have to step outside your home. Amazon has seen huge increases because you can do all of your shopping in one place for your dog food, your clothing, food as well. And then, of course, you have video streaming services that are really hot as well. When you talk about collecting some of this data, can you talk a little bit about what the future could look like in terms of technology when we're keeping the social distancing? Or are we talking about, you know, I have this image of like sci-fi movies, right, where everything opens at your disposal, where we're seeing screens in the sky. Things will change in the future, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's Star Trek, eat your heart out, really. We're talking not only about wearables, but flexible electronics that could be adhesives to your body. People are even talking about embedding sensors the size of a AAA battery into the body so that it can denote things like our skin temperature, our heart rate, our pulse rate, our blood oxygen levels, whether we're about to have an arrhythmia or heart attack. And these are preemptive solutions rather than actually getting sick. Basically, what symptoms can tell us and give us early warning signs. And we're seeing studies all over the world. I'm conducting lots of these. Historically, I've conducted some of these 15 years ago, looking at behavioural analytics, looking at social implications through the behaviours of people, their physical traits, characteristics, and their movements. Basically, if I'm feeling sluggish, I'll be slowing down, I'll be more, sleeping, and my Fitbit can tell me things. Those apnea patterns, those sleep patterns, when I decide to get up and go and have exercise. You know, the less exercise you do, as we are now doing with self-isolation, the less perhaps exposed I might be to bugs, but also the more sluggish I may feel. The question is whether we're going to have doors automatically opening because we're wearing RFID tags or earrings or pendants or watches, and whether that means we don't have to touch surfaces. I do think there will be a heightened awareness about risk, but it's looking at that health and well-being chain. It's looking at how that may change with fintech, basically paying for goods without touching anything. And then it's looking at insurance and insurtech. And it's this whole supply chain. So what we're seeing at the moment, while we have all this technology, how is it that we've become short of masks or short of PPE or short of this and that? The thing is about the supply chain, actually prioritizing what's fundamentally important. Is it about AI in the brain, for example, with future technologies, or is it about getting those fundamental priorities right before we can sort of run to say we're going to merge with AI, with brain technology, for example?
Well, ASU professor Katina Michael, thank you so much for your time this morning. You bring up a really good point with all of the Fitbits and all of the, the devices that we carry, our iPhones that track our health and well-being for sure. Thank you so much for your research, and stay well and stay healthy. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks, Melanie. You too.